The colonists in Massachusetts faced a terrifying situation when news broke that smallpox had reached Boston and was spreading rapidly. This happened in the United States of America. The first victims of this smallpox were passengers on a Caribbean ship. These passengers were quarantined in a house with a red flag, and that house had an inscription, "God have mercy on this house." As the deadly disease spread, panic ensued, leading hundreds of residents to flee for their lives, fearing exposure to the highly contagious and often fatal virus. The smallpox epidemic of 1721 was particularly devastating, causing widespread deaths in a time when medical treatment was rudimentary and understanding of infectious diseases was limited. Amidst the chaos was an enslaved man from West African area named Onesimus. Onesimus proposed a potential solution to prevent the spread of smallpox. This was based on his ideas, which he got when such disease reared itself in the slave ship. The seriousness of this smallpox was recorded by a historian called Susan Priory. She stated that the smallpox was one of the deadliest affliction which affected not only colonists but as well devastated Native American communities that were introduced to this disease by the colonists. The virus also entered the colonies through slave ships, transmitted by enslaved individuals living in a crowded and unsanitary conditions. Onesimus was an enslaved West African man that was purchased by a prominent minister called Cotton Mather in 1706. Onesimus shared with Mather his knowledge of a procedure to prevent smallpox. This procedure involved rubbing pus from an infected person into an open wound on the arm. This was a method of conferring immunity against smallpox. So in this method was that the pus from an infected person will be rubbed on an open wound of an uninfected person. Despite initial skepticism, Mather became an advocate for this practice. And this practice is now known as variolation. This practice is now known as variolation, and spread the word in order to prevent serious impact of this virus. Well, though Mather adhered to this advice from Onesimus, Mather himself faced significant opposition. He faced serious opposition, encountering prejudice and racial bias from other colonists who were reluctant to adopt a medical procedure associated with a black individual. The idea of variolation was met with resistance, and Mather became a target of ridicule and even violence. In 1721, Mather and the physician named Zabdel Boyston seized an opportunity to test the effectiveness of variolation during a smallpox epidemic. Boyston inoculated individuals in Boston with promising results. Of the 224 people inoculated, only 6 died. When you compare that to a much higher mortality rate among those that did not undergo the procedure. Although the smallpox epidemic claimed the lives of 844 people in Boston, the success of variolation offered hope for future epidemics and laid the ground for vaccination. In 1796, Edward Jenner developed an effective smallpox vaccine, eventually making smallpox vaccination mandatory in Massachusetts. While the fate of Onesimus after introducing this life-saving technique was unclear. There were limited information about his later life. However, his knowledge undoubtedly saved hundreds of lives and contributed to the eventual eradication of smallpox. In 1980, the World Health Organization declared smallpox eradicated, and this make historic achievement in the fight of the infectious disease. Please, if you're watching us for the very first time, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification icon so that anytime we drop a new content, you will be one of the earliest persons to be notified. Thanks for being part of this channel.